Hey everybody, Stinger here with a special message, a special thank you to the best Italian wrestling podcast. That's right, the best Italian wrestling podcast called Pro Wrestling Culture. Specifically, thank you to Aldo Fiadoni. All right, Aldo, awesome job, man. I guess you and I met in New York in 2019. And there were some tears shed there. Man, I love that. I love that. You know what? Real men can cry, bro. Let me tell you something. Man, means a lot that you watch. Means a lot that this podcast is happening and the pro wrestling culture appreciates Aldo Fiadoni. So be watching there. It's going to be showtime. And tune in to the podcast, Pro Wrestling Culture, because it's always showtime there from the Stinger.
Questo programma non è soggetto a infezioni. It's showtime.
Culture. My name, the real Messiah, Aldo Fiadone, and here with me, the special guest of the evening, one of the participants of Break Pro Wrestling Episode 3, ladies and gentlemen, David Francisco. Hi, David.
Hello. Ciao, Italia. How we doing? It's good to be here. Great to be talking to you, Messiah. How are you doing?
Thank you very much. It's great to have you here on Pro Wrestling Culture. Grazie, veramente, grazie mille. Davvero. So, my first question for you. Tell us anything about your beginnings and first experience in your professional wrestling career.
Of course, I started training in Portugal a long time ago. I was 14 years old when I started training. And so the first training session I did, we didn't even have a ring or anything. It was just in mats. And I'm sure it's very similar to Italy, where we don't have a lot of wrestlers there that had like international knowledge and everything. We kind of just figure things out by ourselves, or the generation before me figure things out by themselves with DVDs and watching training. These days, it's so easy because you have like YouTube and you can watch so much training and talk to people everywhere. But at the time, it was a bit harder. But that's when I started training. When I was a kid, I did a little bit of refereeing back then, and I started wrestling as well. 8 years in Portugal, became the greatest Portuguese wrestler in history, and take that as Santa Borda, and moved here to the UK, where I've been living for a while, and here I am. It's been a wild ride.
So you have many experience in Portugal, England, UK scenario, etc. But do you see any difference between Portugal fans, Portugal mentality in this business between them and United Kingdom wrestling?
100%, and maybe you feel the same in Italy. Although Italy, I think it's a bit stronger when it comes to wrestling. I had a conversation with someone very smart one of these days, where they said that in a lot of places like Italy and Portugal and everything, there's a wrestling scene, but here in the UK, there's a wrestling culture, right? And it happens in America, in Mexico, in Canada, in Japan, and then here in the UK, where professional wrestling is already part of the culture. You don't have to kind of like teach the people that you want to sell a ticket to, or that you want to bring to shows and bring wrestling to them what wrestling is, they already know what wrestling is. They already like wrestling. So that part, like half the job is already done. Where in Portugal is a bit harder. And I was just in Portugal earlier this month, and it was so interesting to see the new generation, probably because these days it's easier with the internet and the way that we communicate as a society. It's easy to get more people interested. I think that there's a really interesting wave of people that are both in the ring and outside the ring working very hard to try and build something in Portugal, to try and take things slowly but surely to the next level. And but here in the UK it's just so easy, right? In Portugal, you it's crazy because in June, like everyone, the entire scene is a bit like busy because there's like 5 shows in June, and I'm like, there were 5 shows in London this weekend, you know,
this week, yes,
maybe
yeah.
more. Yeah, it is that aspect of like the culture and how part of how wrestling is very ingrained in the culture, not just in maybe the people that would be watching this video, like the most, like, let's call them hardcore fans, but just locally in families and everywhere. You know, wrestling is something that you do, and people want to watch wrestling and want to go and check it out. There's so many shows. It's such a difference in terms of how important and how ingrained pro wrestling is in the culture here in the UK versus how it is in Portugal.
So the indie scene improved year by year, year after year. But we lived during COVID era, okay? And the COVID changed many things in every company, like my first thing of Progress, RevPro, and many more. So have you seen any difference between wrestling indies before COVID and right now, also for the improvement of many young talents?
I'd say so. First of all, things are never stagnant in the world, right? Obviously, COVID was and the pandemic was a big, impactful happening in the world, and definitely in the world of wrestling as well. But things would have changed regardless. You know, no one is. Wrestling is just like a lot of things in life. The only thing that stays the same is the fact that change is constant, right? You keep going up and down, back and forth, and things are just. I wouldn't say that they're better or worse. They're different. I think they're better because they will always be better. Wrestling will always be better than it was what it was before, because you're able to learn from the people that came before you, and I think that it was definitely challenging, and I can see how around me here in UK how challenging it's been for a lot of people to be able to rebuild and relaunch after the world stopped. But it really feels like things are starting to hit a stride. For example, RevPro, the company that I work with closest and the biggest independent company here in the UK, they really tried to hold the boat as much as they could during the pandemic, running shows with no fans. And to go from there all the way to more and more Your Call shows being sold out, and the 11th anniversary show happening at the Copper Box. It was definitely shaky, but things are coming around to the other side. A big part of what a lot of people talk always, not just with the pandemic, but just because of the way the business of pro wrestling changed in the past 5 years. There isn't as much experienced talent here in the scene. So there was a little bit of a rebuilding phase of trying to build new people that would be good enough to carry the boat in the independent wrestling scene and everywhere, RevPro, Purpose, and Progress, and everywhere. And I think that stride has been hit. Let's call it the replacement at the top level of talent has happened, and the current wrestlers that are out there these days here in the UK are as good, if not better, than the ones that were on top of wrestling before the pandemic hit.
Before the pandemic, also here in Italy, there is another shine for our wrestling, because we have only 3 companies probably, and they did many great show, but COVID coming when companies like Rising Sun Pro Wrestling or Italian Wrestling Association are
Shout out
leaving
Diego. Love being there.
their big time, leaving their big time during that moment. After COVID, they had to rebrand themselves, that companies, and in this moment we have IWA with a new shine, Break Pro Wrestling, a new generation company of wrestling in this business in Italy in particular. But we have companies like Rising Sun that suffered too much this changing, and it's brutal. That was brutal.
Yeah. It would be, changes would always happen. You can never be secure of the position you're in, but definitely COVID had like rocked the boat a lot and make things very hard to, not just in wrestling, in the world, just to a lot of people and a lot of companies.
Absolutely.
It's just good to see that things like to be coming around. And like, well, obviously I worked with other IWA before the pandemic hit, and they seem to people just had to see what the scene was actually like now, try to see what their place was and is in that scene, how they can serve the wrestling fans the best, and finally I think those patterns have been found and things are coming around. IWA is growing, Break coming up, and obviously I'm so excited because just the shows that have been happening just look so good, and I've been hearing great things about it. Yeah, it's good. It's exciting, like I think we finally left that behind us, and it's a very exciting future in wrestling around the world, and obviously in Italy as well.
Absolutely. Probably one of the reasons because IWA improved during the last 2 years is for the agreement with European Pro Wrestling. In fact, right now they are Pro Wrestling Roma, another big company for Roman scenario. So, with all of your experience, have you ever had the opportunity to come in a big company, major company like WWE, Impact Wrestling, or All Elite Wrestling? Do you have that opportunity in your career?
Haven't wrestled yet, but I was part of the production of, I believe, the last Impact Wrestling show that happened here in the UK, at Wembley Arena, same place where I wrestled for Progress. I remember just being there and being part of the production for the TV tapings that they did here. It was very interesting how, and it's with a lot of people that I've had a chance to have conversations with. For example, this weekend I was with Lance Archer, and he's very experienced, right? He's been having so much time. By the way, Lance Archer wants to come to Rome in his career, so just putting that out there. And one of the things he said, like obviously he's seen so many locker rooms, he's done so much thing, is that the big companies, sure, they're big, the like size and their corporate, there are corporations and their size is huge, but at the end of the day, it's still the pro wrestling business, it's still professional wrestling. So, and I felt that the same when I was with Impact, helping out and just being a part of that there. It's still a locker room full of like cool guys and gals that are all, they just all love professional wrestling. They're happy to be there and happy to put on the show. And regardless if it's to go to a town somewhere here in the UK or to be at Wembley Arena to see the show, or Copperbox. I've been involved in a few of New Japan shows as well here in the UK. The vibe is always the same, where it's at the end of the day, it's just people backstage doing professional wrestling, which is the thing that they love the most. So I think it's very interesting how the big lights and it being a big thing doesn't take away the flame, the nice flame and spirit of pro wrestling, of independent pro wrestling everywhere.
But if you have the opportunity, do you prefer to stay there in UK or move in another country like United States for helping new young talents and improve yourself for your role in professional wrestling?
I would love to travel the world. Yeah, I'm not married at all. The UK has welcomed me with open arms. I love my time here in London. It gave me so much more than just the great opportunities that I've had in wrestling. But I am very happy and I'm very open to making my home somewhere else if it means that I'll be able to take the next step forward in my path in professional wrestling. I don't mind if it's California, Japan, Mexico. I speak Spanish. Canada, maybe, like the scene is really brewing there, and I think it would be really cool to spend a little bit of time in Canada. It's been very. I'm very open to. I just want to experience and be a part of as much cool stuff in professional wrestling as I can, all around the world, and hopefully I'll be able to do that pretty soon. To just go and travel the world because of pro wrestling and just visit more places and meet more people and wrestle in front of more crowds.
Yeah.
Would love
So,
to, yeah.
man, the June 25th is coming.
Yes.
This Sunday will be another show of RevPro Wrestling, the company of Andrea Ballarin, and you have a match there. You will have a match against the star of the company, the breakout star of the company, the face.
How much money were you paid to say that?
Yeah, il Divo, il Divo al Bettini.
Say a number. How much money were you paid to say that?
I am a huge fan of Il Divo, so probably they give me not money but love. So much love.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
The same,
no money, only
the same
only
way.
love.
The same way that a cult would, right? A cult leader would try and manipulate. You're being manipulated, Messiahs. You're being manipulated. I'm telling you.
Sorry, man, but Il Divo is the culture of professional wrestling.
He doesn't actually love you. He's not in it for you. He's in it for himself. I've seen this. I've seen this a lot. So many people saying this and doing this. He doesn't actually love you. He will turn your back on you as soon as he can.
In my hope and my prayers are only and always with El Divo because I believe in him. I believe in his shine.
But he will break your heart. Sooner or later, something is going to happen, and he will break your heart. He will lie to you. He will lie to your face, and he won't do what you think he wants to do for yourself. He will only think about him. And listen, just so you know, I don't blame you. Okay, I'm not angry at you at all. Like he's the kind of person that just manipulates everyone around him. But I'm just saying, like one day I will. I'm sure sooner rather than later I will be here and I'll say I told you so. But I will say that I told you so with a lot of love. He's the kind of person that professional wrestling and European wrestling doesn't need. And if I can expose him,
you're going to break my dreams.
I know that. Hey, listen. Let's turn our attention to the wrestlers that really actually are doing something to build up, right? Karim Brigante is like maybe the number one Italian wrestler right now that is in Italy. Obviously, Francesco is a big name right now. But like he deserves that love and affection that you're showing, right? Young up and coming guys like Adriano, for example. I think I've been seeing him here in the UK, and he's just putting so much work. He's getting better and better. He earned that love that you're showing. Al did not earn any of this love and admiration, but he's manipulating you into thinking that he did. All I'm going to do on the 25th is go to Rome to expose him so that the audiences and the crowd and the break fans can really get behind the ones that are actually the leaders of this new wave and this new future in European wrestling, as opposed to being fooled by Al.
You are about to be faced an entire Divo section this Sunday.
I understand that. And listen, I don't mean to be patronizing. I see this like this isn't your fault. You're being played. As I have a lot of love for all of you, This isn't your fault. You're being played. When your anger should be directed at the one that is playing you. Don't direct it at yourselves because you're not doing anything wrong. You're just being played. I'm excited though. I'm excited to go and meet the crowd. And listen, I'm going in with a mission. Andrea asked for my help, and I'm going in with a mission.
What do you expect from this match, and not only from the fighting, but the people around you, the Italian fans in general, about this match? Because I think probably is the most important match after the undisputed championship match for this episode of RevPro Wrestling.
Really honest, I am very excited for this weekend. It's not the first time that I get to wrestle in Italy, and I remember how it was when I was in IWA, how rowdy and fun the fans were to be with. So there's something special about the Italian crowds, and the fact that I get to experience that again in a place as special as Rome, a place as special as Rome, and a place as special as Break. I think that the team at Break has been doing such a great job of really trying to do things right and taking the steps the proper way to solidify their position and help Italian wrestling grow. And the fact is that the fans that have been a part of the Break shows, it's simply great. Like I saw it on YouTube channel, and they're just mad. It's so fun. I'm super excited about experiencing that, about being there. Just getting to greet and say hi to all of you, including the Divo section, I promise. And I'm very excited to have a lot of fun on that show. I'm very excited to have a lot of fun beating Al around, because I'm telling you exactly what's going to happen, okay? Al will think that he is at a level of a professional wrestler, like I am. He will try to wrestle me, and then he realizes that he can't wrestle me, so he's going to try and play dirty. The problem is, I have been playing dirty for a very long time, and if there's something I know, is how to counter dirty, right? You fight fire with fire, and if Al wants to play those games, I'll be there to match him and to be better at playing dirty than he does. It's just going to be fun to be able to expose him for what he really is, and help Italian wrestling and Break get rid of a virus that needs to stop. I'm not saying that he needs to quit wrestling and not do it again. I'm just saying that he needs to take the proper steps. He needs to show the respect that everyone else in the roster is showing to Break and to Italian wrestling, and he needs to wind his neck in, because his ego is rampant, and it needs to be tamed.
I respect you, David, but Divo, please don't listen these words. Don't listen.
Oh, he won't listen to them. But trust me, he'll feel them.
I hope not.
He'll feel them.
So, David, thank you very much for your time here on PWC, and see you this Sunday, because when you are in the ring you will be in the ring against Bettini, I will be around the ring for the Divo section, okay?
I look forward to meeting you. I look forward to meeting the Divo session. I think we're going to have a lot of fun. Looking forward to meeting all the Italian friends and the fans there. I'm super excited for that. Very excited to be in Rome for the first time. Very excited to check out the Italian talent that is going to be there as well. I think that there's a lot of potential there, and it will be really cool to see how things are there, and for me to be able to help out in any way. And then, like, myself, and Sunshine Machine, and Laura Di Matteo, and Rain Leverkusen, and Paul Robinson, Jordan Said, like, there's so many of us that are going to go there and help elevate and make such a special night on Sunday. I really think that if you can, and you're watching this, and you're still not decided if you're going or not, trust me. Just that Kareem versus Paul Robinson match is going to be insane. And the rest of the show is going to be really cool as well. And I will be able to be there, and you get to meet me, and I get to meet you. And I'm going to have these ones They just arrived fresh off the printers all the way to my merch table. So come and meet me at the merch table, get some Chaotic Neutral t-shirts, come to break. Let's have some fun. I can't wait to go to Rome. And Messiah, when I see you there, when we meet, I'll shake your hand and I'll give you a hug because I forgive you.
Absolutely. With all of the respect. Absolutely.
Absolutely. No, thank you so much. This has been a pleasure. Great meeting you and talking to you.
Thank you very much, David. See you Sunday. Bye.
See you Sunday, everyone.